Welcome to another episode of Sweet 915. Thank you for tuning in today. Uh, and it's my co-host. It's me, Fedora.
Is hi. How you
Yeah,
doing
how's
today, Curtis?
everybody doing? Huh?
I say, how are you doing
I'm
today?
I'm good. You know why? Let me tell
Why?
you why.
Tell me.
Because my Pittsburgh Steelers won today, and I'm just feeling just good. I just it's NFL Sunday, and this other team is playing right now, but we're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about us and our show because like always, they might not pull it out. You know, fourth quarter team. We're not going to talk
Okay.
about that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in again. You see, it's still Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and was it Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, what you say, Fedora? You are not alone. Is that the motto?
I don't know what the motto is, but report because
Yeah, and we're
um,
going to talk a little about that later on in the month because
mhm.
it's a very important topic. I have a lot of friends that either breast cancer survivors or passed away from some type of cancer. So, in support of them, I got my pink shirt on today to support them because it's hard. It's hard. I've seen some of the things that they go through when they having to deal with cancer, especially breast cancer.
Mhm.
Um, so I know I got some stuff for you, Fedora, and I
What?
know you're gonna just get on me about this because I had to find it out and dealing with the kids, dealing with the kids. So we're gonna talk about it today, and I know you're feeling about it, and it's gonna be yeah,
All
we'll
right.
get to that. We'll get to that. But first thing we're going to talk about is a spike in COVID cases in El Paso County. The spike in the borderland,
Mm-hmm.
and you saying, So uh, I'm gonna let you talk about it, and then I'm gonna tell you what I think, and like people say, we talk about things, but how do we improve on these things? And I'm gonna give some of the ideas I think that can help with um, with some of the
Moving
spikes,
forward.
yeah, moving
The
forward
fights.
because we were steady for a while, and then all of a sudden, in the last week, we've had the largest virus spike of the pandemic with 546 new cases,
Mm-hmm.
with a death toll of 547, and it was the two that passed away was
Young people.
a man in his 50s and a woman in her 60s. So, and they're saying it's the Pasoans in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah,
So,
because they are, I guess, asymptomatic maybe,
yeah.
and they probably aren't aware that they really have it because I don't know how testing is going now. I don't
Mhm.
see it that widespread like it was earlier in the
Right.
pandemic.
Right.
um but they need to be more responsible, I guess, in limiting their interaction with one another,
Mhm.
for the sake of their family members, other people that they may come in contact with, underlying conditions.
Right.
So it's a serious thing. Like they should just be more responsible. And I know that might be hard to do being young,
Mhm.
but it's life or death, right?
Mhm.
It's our health, it's for our safety. So like wear your mask. And I don't feel disrespectful or any kind of way if someone were to say, put your mask on, or did you forget your mask, or pull it up over your nose, because if I see one more person in the store
Thank you.
with the mask on and it's down here under their nose,
Under their nose.
how is that helping,
Right.
right?
Right.
How is that making you safer when it's an airborne virus, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And you need to cover your nose. It's the whole purpose, so it doesn't get into the orifices of your body inside, and the nose is the passageway, right? And our mouths is the
Mhm.
passageway for stuff to enter our bodies and make us sick. So common sense would say cover your nose as well as your mouth, the mask. But I keep seeing older people people that look like they have pre-existing conditions
Mm-hmm.
who wear their mask wrong. And then those other ones, I see a lot of some, I guess, middle-aged people or like the military. I don't know. Maybe they're military. That's judgmental. I don't know if they are or not. But they have the ones that come like the sock
Uh-huh.
that covers the entire neck and comes up.
Yeah.
And Dr. Oz has already said those are garbage. Don't wear them. Doctors have said it. They're
Right.
useless. They do not protect you. They just make the whatever virus or that's going to come into you. It doesn't block those particles, but it makes them smaller when they
Okay.
come through. So instead of it being large coming through, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be smaller little particles coming through to get in, but it's not protecting you. It's no shield. Um, so I want to tell those people, watch television, take that off. That's garbage. You wasting your money. And here's one until you can go buy you a cloth one. All
Right.
right. But
Right.
I haven't gone that far yet, so people won't be calling me crazy, but
Yeah.
that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But it's serious, and the young people need to take it seriously.
Right.
I'm constantly reminding my daughter because I know it's been a long time now, and you know how we get into a routine and we can forget easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time she leaves the house, I'm always saying, hey, don't forget your mask. Make sure you wear your mask, because I don't want them to stop their lives. I don't want them to, live in fear, but I want you to be conscious to know. And she knows that I have pre-existing conditions. So she's very conscious of who she's around. And when she comes back home, and, that would just destroy her if I was the cause. I got it because of her.
Right.
So she's very cautious in that nature, and the people that she's around, which aren't many, but her circle is aware and they keep themselves safe. So it's important. Everybody needs to do their part. And I think we can get a handle on it like we had before.
Yeah. And you have, they're trying to open up, like you said, this is a new norm. So for bars to open and other large businesses that think that they're supposed to be open, or is that's their ways of making money, then they need to come up with a plan. I read recently that the issue with the bars is once they allow them to open, will they stick with, if it's 75% capacity based on what the mayor or the governor is saying, will they stick to that? People don't have time to count and say, okay, it's your capacity is 75, but you got, it's supposed to be a 75% capacity and you're at, 100%. See what I'm saying? So, and then the thing about the bars also, they're saying that if it's not well ventilated, then if you're in a bar, you're not going to talk with a mask on because you want to drink your drink. But is that safe? You see what I'm saying? You're going to put a chair between you and the other person, but you're still in a closed-in location where it's not well ventilated, compared to being outside. Even though it's airborne virus, you're outside. You have the ability to distance yourself more so than being in a bar. So their thing is they need to come up with better guidelines of when they want to allow the bars to open, because like you said, this is going to be the new norm for a minute, and people don't want to shut their lives down because of the coronavirus, and they're trying to figure ways to allow the bars to open. So I've seen on the news recently as well that the mayor has been giving out special permits for special events to occur here in El Paso. Now I haven't seen any because I really don't go out like that. But when it comes to being in a place where it's that many people in there, then I try to stay away, because I don't want to come home and like you say, you could be a carrier and not know that you're a carrier, and you're out there. You see what I'm saying? So you could be giving it to somebody and not tell them. Another thing they talked about was people that know that they have it, know that they're supposed to stay in the house, and they don't.
Oh yeah. Well, we got our, the chief commander, the one that's supposed to be in charge, and he doing the same thing. Then he quarantine. He trying to infect other people. So I guess people say, why should they have to?
Yeah. And so here's my suggestion as far as data collecting. When we get cases of coronavirus, we need to be honest with with the health professions and tell them, "Yep, I was in Juarez this weekend. I was in New Mexico, or I flew to North Carolina and came back in, and I didn't stay in the house. I didn't quarantine for 10 days. I was back in the streets a week later. So now I have it. So you can say most of the causes of the increase or the spike is because people are traveling out of town and not quarantining themselves when they come back, or we have a lot of people going to visit family members in Juarez and coming back and not saying that, hey, they need to quarantine themselves for so many days or whatever the case may be. I think that we need to collect that data so that we can figure out what the problem is and try to make that one of the rules. Hey, if you go here, then you need to quarantine yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, or some way to identify them when they get off the plane. Something that you could say, okay, this person needs to quarantine for 10 days or whatever the case may be. Not to put a restriction on them, but some people just not following the rules. They're just doing what they want to do, knowing that they need to quarantine themselves. If they go out of town and come back into El Paso, Texas, need to quarantine themselves for at least 10 days, but they're not doing that. And then you have this spike because everybody thinking it's okay to go out now. And people are still having large gatherings. I don't care what they say. They're still doing it because I see it on Facebook. I see it on Instagram where people are still having large crowds. And it's like, there's no room to move when they're having these parties. And I'm like, y'all don't get it, do you? And like you say, you see the pictures and they got the mask right here under their nose. And I'm like, dude, you're in a room full of people and you are partying, you're sweating, so your pores are open and you got your mask under your nose thinking that's okay. That's not, y'all not getting it. You're not getting it. And then when are we going to get it? When it hits home? That's when we're going to wake up.
Some
that's why my suggestion to lowering the spike, because we were steady for a while, and then just last week we had this big spike. It's like I think it was like 15. It's in just 2 days, El Paso County posted nearly 1,000 added infections and over 2,500 for the week. That's last week. Wow. 2,500 for the week, and the amount now standing at 5,534 cases, which is another high mark. And then I got it. We want to get out because I want to get out the house too. But it's okay to go outside. I don't need to go to wherever they're going that's causing this spike. But it's got to be somewhere that's creating what's going on. So I'm like you. We got to think about other people. Let's keep everybody safe so that therefore they can start giving out the the vaccine, which is supposed to be supposedly next month between November and January, but we're not going to be the first ones to get it. No. The first one to get it because
who? Child, please.
You are an educator.
Let me tell you.
You have to get back in the classroom.
The people at the White House take it first.
We need you at school to teach these kids.
Right, and I will be there with my face shield, my mask, my gloves, my hand sanitizer, my PPE suit, and whatever else I need. But the people that need to take the shot first once it come out is the president, and they need to broadcast it with them getting the shot. Make sure it's the shot. Make sure they get the vaccine. Everybody in the whole administration need to take the vaccine first. Now, when they take it and have had it for a while, for about a month or so, and if it's from the reputable doctors and not just from a company that they're trying to make money off of, then sure, I will take it. But I will not be the first. I will not be a guinea pig. Because, the government has given out polio, syphilis before to people. So, no. Cannot be trusted.
Okay. So I know this is going to be a long discussion. So I'm just going to say it.
What?
Eastwood High School becomes the 4th El Paso high school to see football disrupted due to coronavirus.
Yeah, just talked about it. Didn't we have a show on that?
Yeah, we did.
Didn't we? All righty.
Okay.
Just saying.
I'm going to talk about it, Fedora. I'm going to talk about it.
Go
So
ahead.
Eastwood now joins Irving, Cathedral, and El Paso High schools, El Paso High schools who have all had postponed football games due to coronavirus breakouts.
Mm-hmm. They're not the first, and they're not going to be the last, because if they keep on, it's going to continue, as well as when the students come back to school.
Yeah. And they
It's
canceled
going
a
to start.
volleyball game between Bel Air and Isleta High School due to apparent positive for coronavirus as well.
Yep.
I just want to say we got to think about, if we want these kids to play these sports, we have to
At
put.
what cost, though?
But
Like,
that's the
everybody's so
thing.
keen on their entertainment. You know what? I don't understand that. Like I keep saying, us as Americans, we are spoiled. Like, what is up with this entertainment thing? Like, you got to sit back and just be entertained. Like, why are the children playing sports? Get out there in your backyard and throw a football around. Run to one end of the backyard to the other, or down the street with your mask on. Like, why do we have to be together? You're in a huddle, you're on the line, snotting it up, dirt's flying, and you running into each other, grabbing each other. You right there at each other's face. There's no way you can social distance playing football. I'm sorry. You can't.
Well, what do I put the thing that go like the NFL players got? They got the thing that go over their face though. So then it's like a gator neck. So once they come off the field from playing, then they can put the gator neck on their
Didn't I
nose.
tell you that thing don't work?
Require all players.
Didn't I tell you that one doesn't work?
They're
They
not
need
in the
a
game to
mask.
put the thing over their nose.
The gator doesn't work. They need a mask. Go behind the ear, behind the ear. That gator thing does not work.
Okay, so let's say all players get a mask like they doing, and then put their mask on when they're on the sidelines, and if they're not in the game. So that's just a suggestion to the coaches out there that coaches little league, high school. Some college players are doing it. I seen them. I watched a couple games yesterday with college players where they weren't in the game. They had the thing covering their nose and mouth. So, and I think it's not mandated that the players do it. I think they did it because they don't want to catch coronavirus. So I think as far as high school, with the school districts, I think that they should mandate, if the player is not on the field, then they need to cover their face up.
They should. It should be mandatory. I mean, that's too easy. That's simple stuff.
Yeah.
But
The
back
coaches
to the
have
real
do it.
deal.
The players don't.
Yeah. Like, the coaches aren't playing. Like, we try to protect. I mean, we want to protect them too, but
Right.
common sense is you want to protect the children. Everybody, we want to protect everybody. So why do the coaches just get to wear masks and the players don't? Like, I don't get that, because they're the ones that it's most difficult to social distance in the game that they're playing. So the coaches don't have to stand next to each other. They can have the earpieces or whatever to communicate back and forth to one another. So they really can social distance and be away from one another. But on the other hand, the players can't necessarily do that. So they need to be, the ones that are most protected, with the mask, or like, I know some of the NFL teams, because they have the money to do it, they wear like wristbands, and if you're too close to another player, it vibrates to remind you, hey, you too close, you need to move away. Okay. So that's really good. And they have masks, and they get tested like on a regular basis to make sure that they're
don't get tested as well. The tested every day, you know what I'm saying? Prior to the game, they should be tested. That I say 2 days before the game, they should be tested to ensure that no one has coronavirus, and we continue moving. But we also have to, because the kids are supposed to be at home. So after practice is home, practice, football game, back home. Fair enough?
I mean, it should be, but is it?
I don't think so. I think just like any high school kid, once they leave the high school game, they're going to somebody's house, and
I'm going to get food.
and going to get food and things of that nature. They're not
Out.
necessarily going back home to ensure that they can play next week. Um, but I think they I don't know if they mandate testing every week, so maybe that's something I need to look into, and I can't speak on that. But I think that's just an idea for the coaches. If the players are not playing on the field, they should have their mask on their face to ensure that, hey, we can watch you play next Friday, because like you say, some people, for me, some people, that's their ticket to a better education. That's their ticket to their dream of being an
Mm-hmm.
NFL player, or a professional volleyball player, or professional track. Want to play on the want to be a part of the U.S. track and field
Olympic
team.
team. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm still with the I don't want to crush their dream.
Yeah.
Is this is going to be the new norm anyway? So, but we need to put our heads together and think about how do we make our kids safe so that
Yeah.
they can achieve their dream,
Continue. Yeah.
continue and look at, they want to say, this is my dream to this is my way to a better education. Let's not take that away from them. Find out ways, and we can sit down as adults and administrators and you know, city councilmen, and talk about, and women, city councilmen and women, to sit down and talk about how we can live our lives
Mm-hmm.
through the
And
COVID
still be safe.
and still be safe. That's right. So it's just like when I see some of the people on TV, they have their mask on when they're talking during this campaign trail. They're talking, but they have their mask on. They take their mask off to speak, and then they put their mask back on.
Mhm. But there's social distances
Right.
as
And
well.
there's social distances as well.
Mm-hmm.
The presidential thing that's going on. I seen Joe Biden out. I think he was in Arizona recently. Same thing. He was there,
Yeah,
but
there's mask.
he had his mask on. It was social distancing. So I think we need to think about that when we think about our kids and ensuring that their safety comes first. I understand we want to play football because I enjoy it too. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy seeing the kids out there fulfilling their dream, but I not like you said, not at the risk of losing their life. We don't want to, because we want to see football so bad at the high school level that we lose one of our kids
Yep.
because they got COVID-19.
Yep.
So I got what you're
And
saying.
the younger,
I
they're
would
getting
bring
it
that up.
younger and younger.
Yeah.
Younger kids and kids are getting it now, wherein before it wasn't so, but now they're getting younger and younger that are suffering with it. And they might not, you know, preferably not die from it, but
Mhm.
they have long lasting effects from it because of the disease. It's so new and they're finding out things about it constantly
Mhm.
that are new and they haven't really gotten a handle on it. So there are a lot of lasting effects with respiration, the mind, things of that nature, so that they're still like doing research and stuff on now, trying to figure out why is that, it's almost like the early onset of Alzheimer's. They're
Mhm.
having those type symptoms.
Mhm.
Um, like they say pregnant brain, or like, you're in this fog. And people who have come out of it, some people who've come out of it are having this, residuals of corona, and it's weird and it's serious. Some people, still might not have their taste buds back or things of that nature. So
Okay.
it's affecting everybody differently.
Mhm.
So, it's really hard to get a handle on it. So they're still learning so much. So it's not, and that's why like a vaccination it it's gonna be like we have to take like a flu shot. Some people like they're giving it to you so you can build up antibodies. It's never like you can't cure a virus.
Okay.
You have to give it and then build up immunities towards it. And that's the way I believe COVID is. But if it continues to mutate and change, then time they think they're ahead, they're really behind because it's changed again. So that's another factor that's having an issue that's going forth with it too. So it's scary. I mean, and everybody has to do their part and everybody has to be honest and just realize that I call it a new normal,
Right.
Like we used to look on the news and you see the people over in was it China with the mask on before, but they were wearing it because of the pollution.
Right.
You know, it was so bad. So now that was their normal, you know, everyday thing. Now it's ours as well, but for a totally different reason.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mm. So elections 2020 is heating up.
Yes,
Next
yes.
week, next week starts early elections. So
Early
I would
voting.
advise early voting. I'm sorry, you're correct. Early voting. So I would encourage everybody to get out there and early vote. Don't wait till November 3rd
No.
to cast your vote. Let's get out there. Let's do it early. Um, I would tell the young people, this is what I would tell you, young people out there. Don't vote. Just vote. Know who you're voting for. ElPasoMatters.com has a full layout, the latest and greatest on all of the candidates. Some candidates didn't answer because the concern of El Pasoans is we see you as a candidate, but we don't know anything about you. So they came up with a questionnaire to ask them questions such as, have you ever been arrested? What are your thoughts about coronavirus? How do we try to control the virus at the city level or the county level?
Mhm.
So some people have answered the questionnaire and some people haven't. Now, when you don't answer the questionnaire, I see two things. You're cocky and arrogant, thinking that you got it in the bag, or two, you have something to hide. That's just me. That's my opinion. So if I can't look on here and find something about you, read about you, and see where my views go as far as who do I vote for, because you don't want to tell, you feel like that's your personal information, then, like I said, two things. You're arrogant and you think you got it in the bag, or two, you have something to hide. Hey, we understand politics. Well, some of us understand politics. And I think for the young people, you should take the time out, go look on that website, find out about those candidates, and find out what their views are on some of the things that you're concerned about
Mhm.
in El Paso. That's it. The jobs. You're concerned about the young people. One of the concerns were jobs. So see who has your best interest about jobs and how they're going to get you jobs, not just being what you call an intern. Because some
Mhm.
some interns you got to work for free. When I was in,
Yep.
I worked for free. That was free. I
Yep.
pick my own hours. I work for free. They got free
So did
labor
I.
out of me for 3 or 4 months. So
Mhm.
you know,
And you work harder than
yeah,
as just as hard or harder than the people who are getting paid.
yep.
I remember when I did my internship, one girl asked me, she was like, Miss, what do they mean when they say intern? And I said, that means, and somebody else said, that means she doesn't get paid. And they looked at me like, what is wrong with you? I'm
Hey, it's
like,
a
you doing this
requirement.
and you not getting paid for it? What is
Yep,
wrong with you? And
yep,
I was like, yeah, because I'm in school and it does. I said, but yeah, I would do it for free anyway. And they were
yep,
like, Miss, like,
yeah,
like, what's wrong with you? You crazy.
right, right. But
But yeah.
I learned so much being an intern. I learned a lot. I learned a
Yeah.
lot about working in the police department. I learned about the different areas and how they operate, and that's why we talked about uh, the defunding. They had to change the terminology because people I was like, you can't defund the police department because there are certain areas that they need
Well,
that.
you can defund, but we have to define
Right,
what we mean when we say defund.
right.
Because that is the true word, because you are taking funds,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And reappropriating them
Mm,
to something else that would benefit the community better.
right.
So yeah, I think defunding or um appropriating, the monies differently or whatever.
Yeah.
We can change the terminology, but I think when they say defund, we have to clearly define what is meant by those words, because people can always put their own meaning. Oh, we're taking all the money from the police department, we're going to put it, but where's that money going?
Yeah. That's the
Where is
question.
it going? And it may not be that it's taking away from them altogether, but it's being appropriated for programs that are going to benefit the community.
Right.
Like, having the mental health professionals on staff, and on call out. So that takes training with the police and the mental health worker. That takes payment, like part of payroll, to go with these. I guess you can label them as consultants when those type of calls come in, and forming those teams and things of that nature. So in that case, because you're taking it and reappropriating those funds to benefit the communities that they cover or they serve.
Yeah. So you have to clearly identify that, though.
Yeah.
Because when they first said it, I was like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I worked in various departments as an intern, and some of those guys work a lot of hours, and they don't necessarily, that money that you're trying to take away does not necessarily come from the city's funds. That comes from another pot of money somewhere else. So if you're gonna,
or grant,
or grant. So if you're gonna take away something like that and call it defunding, I think that you should use a different terminology. I think you should just say that. But when that question comes about with the candidates, I don't think nobody has the right answer. They have to ask the people. Nobody has the right answer, because when we talk about elections, people are going to say what you want. What people are going to say,
what you
want to hear, and think, oh yeah, so that's the candidate for me. But they don't understand that all the work that comes behind it to make that happen. And that's like you're saying, candidates making promises, and you're not understanding that if you want something built in the Northeast, or you want something built in central Paso or the West Side, you want the nice big what's that place he was talking about, the lodge over there, the big fun lodge and the indoor pool and all this.
Oh yeah.
That just doesn't happen overnight. There's deals that got to be made. Somebody's got to rub somebody's hand, shake somebody's hand, and you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Like you said, we discussed, we saw during the panel that they were saying, okay, well, if you support me with this, I'll support you with that. So if you want to bring this to the Northeast, then I need you to support me on the West Side with this, because we have to vote on this, and I need your vote to support me on this. And if you support me on that, then I'll support you in this. But then you're telling the people that I can get you this, but then, behind the closed doors, the drug deal, well, I don't want to say drug deals, but the deals are being made with politics. And we as young people and old people, the older people is going to tell you the deal, but it's the young people. When we talk about the elections that's coming up, I would tell them, don't vote just to vote. Know who you're voting for, and with that, with the PasoMatters.com, it will tell you about these candidates, and like anything, you can look on their Facebook page, their Instagram, who they associate themselves with. That's going to tell you what they're about. So I would encourage them to do that. When
who do they consider friends?
Yep.
And listening. And I really, really like what our panelists, our guests, said last week about finding out, because I had posed a question about the judiciary, the judicial system, and voting on these judges, and a lot of times they come in unopposed because they're the only ones that are running. But is that a good thing? Because when you are in a position for so long, you get this power, and it's no longer about what's right; it's about what you think is right.
Okay.
And that might not be. It's no longer about the law, and what is right. It's about what can be proven, or what deal can be made. What can you plead to, even though that this person hadn't done it, and that this witness is lying, or you coerce, or whatever the case may be, and it's not right. They're two justice systems. So what I want to know, how the people who are on the other side of it are saying, what are they saying about this judge? How were they treated in court?
Right.
how, this district attorney or this lawyer, how were they treated by this individual? How
Mhm.
did you feel? Did you feel like you were being heard? Were you encouraged to plea when you knew that you were innocent? Like, what did these people tell you? How were you being treated? And I think that was an excellent point to get those people's opinions and their perspective on what happened to
Mhm.
help us as citizens make that call and be like, okay, because everybody at some point will be involved with the judiciary at some point in some
Mhm.
type of aspect. So you want to know, I feel that it's important. I want people that are truthful, who
Right.
aren't liars or who won't compromise just for the title
Mhm.
or to get power. I want an honest person, a God-fearing person, to be in those positions. And I want to know if they're not that way, for real.
Right.
And then no, we don't need them there. They need to, go, and we
Okay.
don't need to appoint or vote for them in there.
Okay. So I saw something recently,
What's
a
that?
campaign while I was watching football earlier.
Mhm.
President Donald Trump and his coronavirus. Um, he kind of made it look like it wasn't serious as we make it to be because he came out of the hospital early, uh, against the wishes of the
I
doctors.
was just gonna say he left the hospital. They
Yeah,
didn't release him.
yeah. He left the hospital at the under the wishes of the doctor, where he should have stayed in, but he left anyway. Um, do you think that's a hoax of him having coronavirus, or do you think he really did have coronavirus?
I think he really had it. I think he still has it. And I think the residuals are gonna jump on that back
Mm,
like a bear
mm,
and take hold of him.
yeah,
But he's still not gonna admit or, give it up or say anything, that makes any sense to
right.
anyone with common sense.
Mm,
He's still gonna put, make it political.
yeah.
Maybe he did get a mild, because it sort of depends upon what dose you get of it, how much
Mm,
exposure you get to it. So maybe he did have a minimum exposure to it
mm,
and it didn't affect him. And maybe he was just overly afraid when he couldn't breathe.
mm,
And, when they came out and said that he was fine, maybe it was that he was fine. And somebody else said that, oh, it was serious. So maybe they did spin it that way. Oh, it was so serious, but it really wasn't that serious.
mm,
Who knows? Only he knows, and only God knows.
yeah.
So, but what he tells, and most things that come out of his mouth is a lie anyway. So it could have been a lie. I mean, we'll never know. And
Right.
everybody who's with him, making that choice to lie with him, who knows? But I would like to think, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it has failed me several times, but I
Mm,
still do,
yeah.
that he did have it,
Mm,
but maybe the dose wasn't as powerful as some,
right.
the exposure wasn't as powerful, and he was able to, even though he has pre-existing conditions,
Mm,
maybe he was able to, and he has the money and the power to get all of these steroids and all of these main drugs and cocktails to squash it quickly.
right.
So, but others are not that fortunate.
Yeah.
Other people, we
Yeah.
have to suffer through it. So, yeah, I mean,
I
everything's
think
political with him anyway. So,
I think uh, I think he had it because I don't see him and his wife around. His wife walking together at all these new rallies or stuff that he's at. I don't see her, so I think
she
that
had it too.
yeah. But
So,
I haven't
how
seen her
bad?
out.
No, it might be super bad. I know the
Yeah,
kid
she
didn't have
might
it.
really have it for real, and he's walking around. It's like when somebody know they sick and they still go to work and or they're still doing something that they know they're not supposed to be doing, and then
Yep,
next thing everybody in the office got the flu because you came to work with the flu
yep,
because you don't have no more sick leave. So now you
yep.
come to work with the flu, knowing you need to be home, and
Infecting
now
everybody else.
everybody else gets it, and then this person gets it, and that person. I think, and now he's talking about getting back on the campaign trail, which I think will hurt because they
He's
didn't tell you
spreading it
before.
because he's still
Right.
sick.
Right. You still
Pence
sick when you're walking around.
has it too, because he got tested too early. He got tested way too early, and before you know it, he's gonna be sick too. If he publicizes it, you might find out that he's not around for like 14 days. Keep a watch on it, because I bet you he has it too. Because when they tested him, it was too soon. Because it's about the time you are tested after you've been exposed for you to get a positive. He probably got a negative because it was too soon to test him, and it wasn't there. So when he had that debate, I was like, I don't put the plexiglass. They should have put her in a conceal. They should have put Kamala in one of those concealed boxes. I would have been like opening the door, hermetically sealed boxes, and gotten up there and said what I had to say. Because I'm like, I don't want none of it.
So have you seen the presidential debate and the vice president debate?
I saw the vice president. I watched all of the vice presidential debate, and I saw I missed, I think, maybe 10 minutes of the I think that was the second presidential debate, or whichever one it was. But yeah, the one with Biden and Trump, and then I watched the entire one with Kamala and Pence.
Yeah, I didn't know it was on. I caught some of it, but
it was
some of the questions, with them not answering various questions that were asking them. What do you think about that?
Well, when Pence didn't answer the questions that was asked to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's typical.
Yeah.
Kamala, she pretty much answered the questions that were asked to her, and she laid it out and answered it in like layman's terms where you could understand it.
Right.
Ooh, but when she say, "You will not lecture me,"
yeah, a lot of people had a lot to say about it.
Yes.
After when
after it was
CNN
over
and the rest of them get together, Fox News, and they talk about how it went and who won and so forth, so on. And I just think that the fly was a distraction. The fly was
hey, that was the only, and I was very, very taken aback what the psycho said about her and the whole debate. I was like, no, he didn't. But that goes to show you the type of person that he is and the way he speaks about other people.
Right.
I was like, the only monster that was on that stage was that fly that landed on his head and stayed there, hung out, was like, hey, y'all, what's up?
What's up?
But you know what flies, flock around.
Right. So. I was, and with the presidential debate, I couldn't get into it because I said, once again, the president is doing what he does.
Yeah, what he does. Talks over, disrespectful.
He just talks over.
Rambles.
And when they ask about the muting of the mic, they said due to some technical stuff, you can't.
Why not?
The moderator will not be able to just mute the mic when their time is up. So you have to just keep saying, like she said, your time is up, Senator. Your time is up, President.
Why can't they just mute the mic? Or whoever controls the mic, why can't they mute?
Something about some technical stuff that they can't do it. They won't be able to do it because then they gotta cue the mic back up and all that stuff. So don't.
Really, I think that's a bunch of lies. Because
so
I mean, we are technologically savvy, and it should be just. They can wire it in such a way where it will be easy, just like the Staples button. Push that joker, and it just goes mute. And you can talk all day long, but can't nobody hear you. And then you move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Oh well, especially when people don't follow what they agreed to. When both parties agree and you agree to these certain things, but. Yet again, it does not surprise me, and it continues to happen. So, like Kamala said, there is a pattern, and the pattern has been set. He has not deviated from that pattern. So why would we think it would be any different than what it has been? Because that's his method of operation.
Okay. Wow.
So sad.
Yeah. So. Whew. it's what have you okay. So have you been getting texts and emails about people asking you about who you're voting for? Can they count on your vote? How these people get my phone number?
If you're a
How do you get
voter,
my
it
email?
goes out. Yeah, well, not email, but I get texts
Can you
because
block it? Because it
um
comes different times, you know.
you can block it if you want. Um, I've only gotten one about who I'm voting for.
Mm,
But it was from the people who I'm voting for.
yeah.
So I replied to them and expressed how I was voting
Mm,
and, told them I was on board and, I'm liking what they're doing. And, if I can do emails or text messages, I'm on board for that. And so that's why I've been getting the different, text messages and stuff. So yeah, but I think if you don't answer it, I don't think that you will continue to get them. But I think the reason why I continue to get them is because I'm on their list to receive them.
oh,
Uh-huh.
I need to take that off mine because I don't want to listen. Don't ask me who I'm voting for. Can I count on your vote? None of that. No, leave me alone. Early in the morning.
Curtis. Now.
Yeah,
All right.
Julie Scott said that I can block him, so I'm going to block him, Julie, because I
Yeah.
don't have time. I don't want to answer the. No, no.
Yeah. You can
Leave me
block.
alone. I should be able to
Mhm.
vote for who I want to vote for. I don't need you asking all them questions and stuff. I'm not doing no questionnaire. I'm not answering who I'm voting for. Am I Democrat, Republican? None of your business.
Mhm.
You know. So, um, Fedora, I don't want to keep you longer. It's NFL Sunday. Thank you for
Oh, but
tuning in again with us. Huh?
hold on.
Okay.
I do have a question though.
Go
I
ahead.
want our viewers
Yeah.
to think about this and to give us some feedback
Hmm.
on if you're single on dating during COVID. So, have you been able to date? Because the whole thing back in the day, and it's not too long,
Hmm.
that online dating or meeting people through the online way
Right.
was the way you found, your significant other.
There's some killers out there, right?
You know what? Stop. It's killers everywhere. Okay. You have to weed through, the frogs to get to your
Okay. All
prince
right.
or
Yeah.
your princess, right?
Mhm. Right.
And everybody that is online is
Mhm.
not, bad. So
Right.
there are some good people on there because if you've ever been on there, you consider yourself a good person.
Mhm.
So you know that there are good people, and you just have to pray to the Lord that you and that other person will be able to, find each other in that manner. Because if you're a homebody like myself, I
Mhm.
don't go places to meet anyone. I'm always home. If I'm not at church, I'm working. And if I'm not working, I'm in my house.
Mhm.
So you don't go anywhere, if you're single or whatever. And you might go to a function here or a function there, but not long enough to really, mingle and go out and stuff or get a number or somebody to approach you with interest. So, how are people dating now? Because it's not like dating stopped, So, we want, people to share their thoughts and send it to
And if they
the
would like
real
to be a
sweet
guest, we can.
915.
Yeah.
Huh?
If they'd like to be a guest, they can email us at the real sweet 915 at
Yep.
gmail.com. And we'd be glad to hear what you're talking about because I have a question for Dora since she asked me a question. I got a question. So
What?
since you're a homebody and you just go to church and work and
Back
and
home?
and and a function here and there, would you have an issue if you were trying to find somebody? Would you have an issue with them going out? They do the sports bar thing or hang out from time to time. They don't want to be sitting at home with you all the time. Would that not be the perfect person for you, or that's you would tell them
I missed your question. Hold on. Go
the
go back.
question is, let me say it slow so you can hear this. The question is, being that you are a homebody that goes to church, to work, and back home, and you do a social thing every now and then, would you date someone that is not a homebody? If you're looking for somebody during the pandemic, would you date somebody that, like, hey, I'm going to hang out with the fellas, or I'm going to the sports bar for a little bit, or whatever the case may be, that don't want to sit at home and watch Netflix with you, or what's that channel y'all like?
Lifetime.
Yeah, the Lifetime channel. Yeah, see, you know what I'm talking about. So
I just said that to be
yeah.
facetious. Yeah, I mean, I don't see. I didn't say that that's what I
Mhm.
like, but I am during this pandemic. I am mostly an introvert,
Right.
and yeah, I am mostly an introvert, but
Mhm.
I can be an extrovert.
Okay.
I can be outgoing because it's just a part of my personality. But me for myself,
Mhm.
I'm cool being at home. It's not like I'm going crazy with the four walls, or oh, I gotta get out, I gotta do something. No, that's not my personality. That's not me. I'm comfortable in most situations that I put myself in. So being at home, and then when I do get that urge, or like it's satisfied enough with when I have to go out and go to the grocery store to get something and then come back, and I'm good.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
good.
I don't see a problem with wanting, for a person to date someone, because you can't have some if both of y'all just stay in, oh my gosh, it'd be boring. You need somebody to
Mhm.
be, like yin and yang. You need somebody
Mhm.
to complement, the parts that you may lack.
Right. Right.
So yeah, like a person that talks a lot. You can't have two people that talk a whole lot because nobody's listening.
Yep.
Everybody, both of y'all just talking.
Right.
So
Right.
if you find a person that talks and you're quiet to listen, and then they listen to you when you speak, I mean, that's a balance, a healthy balance. So you
Yes.
can't have two people that's over the top, then nothing gets done. You still need that person to balance each other out. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. I don't see, why you would discriminate
Yeah.
if they like to go out, because that could help you becoming, to go out and meet their friends.
Mhm. Thank
Yep.
you.
Hmm.
You didn't avoid the question. Thank you.
Of course not. I never do. I'm always a straight shooter. I'm gonna tell you like it is, even if it hurt.
All right. So, dating during a pandemic. You can be a guest if you would like to be a guest on our show, Sweet 915. Just email us at the real sweet 915 at gmail.com, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Remember, no topic is taboo. So
It's
you
taboo.
can come on here and we can just talk about it. So feel free
Real
to email
deal.
us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Fedora, you have anything for the people before we close out today's show?
Nope. Just keep loving your heart and vote.
Keep loving your
Vote
heart.
like your life depends on it,
Mm-hmm.
because it does.
Yep.
Vote.
And I would just like to say early voting starts this week. Please check out El Paso County Vote. I think it's El Paso County Vote.
PasoMatters.com.
Yep, yep. El Paso Matter.com and El Paso County uh, Voters.com. El Paso County Votes.com to
Mm-hmm.
find out where you can early vote. There's various locations throughout El Paso that you, like you said, you might walk out your job and the early voting station might be down the street or across the street. So look into that and
Yep.
find out where you can early vote. And if you have any questions, you can email us at the real sweet 915 at Gmail, and we can answer that question for you as well. We can tell you where your early voting registration uh, stations are and to help you out. So um, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Sweet 915. I'm your host, Curtis Smith, and it's me,
It's
Fedora.
Fedora.
It's it. And we want to say, have a blessed day. Thank you for
Yep.
tuning in again.
Go
Bye.
watch football.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it.